Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. I heard a statistic the other day that said around 75% of Americans cannot pay cash for a $1,000 emergency that comes up, and that floored me. So I sat down and I tried to come up with as many ways as I could to pay off a $1,000 or larger bill. Now, of course, the first and easy way is cash money from an emergency fund. And for those of you that are on this channel, you probably have an emergency fund. Another way would be to pay it off with a credit card. Now, the problem is, you can do that, and I've done this, but you pay it over time and you end up paying interest. But if you have no cash, and when I was doing this, I was thinking about a car issue. Starter goes out, you got to get the starter fixed. So you put it on a credit card and you pay $50 a month and they charge you a lot of interest, but you got your car back. Another thing that you could do, depending on the bill, is to negotiate with the payee. Like if you have a medical problem, you can negotiate with the hospital. I had a car problem one time, and it was the transmission. And I negotiated payments with him. You could negotiate with the payee by saying, hey, I owe you $10,000. What if I pay you $75 a month until it's paid? And normally they won't charge interest on that, and they can carry the debt. All you have to do is make sure you make the payments. Another way to do, and this one you can do in concert with paying with the credit card, you get a balance transfer card. What that means is you can take a balance on a credit card that you're paying interest on, and you can transfer it to this balance transfer card, and they'll give you up to, I've seen them as high as 21 months with no interest to pay that off. So that way the credit card company will carry the debt, and all you have to do is make sure you make your payments. That's a good thing to use. I had a buddy of mine do that, and he's doing great with it. Another thing you could do, you could sell a bunch of toys around the house. If you've got a motorcycle and a snowmobile and, 2 wave runners, sell some stuff to pay your bill. Then when you get back on your feet, you can go buy your stuff back. You could borrow money from friends or family. I don't recommend this because money is usually the thing that comes between relationships. But in an emergency, if you have to, that is a way to do it. Another thing you could do would be to get a personal loan. This assumes your credit is okay, but they'll make personal loans. I get one every year for about $1,500, just for emergencies. You could refinance your house or a car or something. You could refinance it, pull the cash out, and put that towards your debt. You could use investments. Now, I don't recommend making this a habit, but as an example, if you have a 401k, they will charge you interest or a penalty, and you will pay income tax on the money you take out. But again, if you need the money, there is a way to get it out of that 401k. Another way is to use discount places. As an example, if you needed, in the case of the starter, what if you went to the junkyard, bought a used starter, and put it on yourself? Or took that starter and had somebody else do it for you? That would be much cheaper than just going somewhere and having put a starter on. Now, the next one kind of falls in line with what I just said. DIY. If you know anything about cars, try to do it yourself. House repairs. If you know anything about painting or carpet or roofing or anything like that and there's an emergency, try doing it yourself. Another way is kind of an old-fashioned way. It's called bartering. If your starter goes out and you tell your buddy, hey, if you put a starter in my car, I'll paint the exterior of your house. But work it out. That way it doesn't end up costing near as much. Another way to pay a big bill would be to get a side hustle. You know, if you have a trade, you know, use that trade as your side hustle, or get a part-time job, or whatever the side hustle is. Take that money and apply it towards your debt. Now, some emergencies have insurance on them, like your house or your car, or medical problems. If you've got insurance, use the insurance to get as much of that bill paid as you can. Another one is warranties. Now, I normally don't get warranties because I look at them like, if you don't trust your product enough to let the warranty stand on its own, then why should I pay for an additional warranty? I just don't do that. But I've known some people that have used warranties, and they do end up paying off, especially for like cell phones and electronics. That might be an exception to my rule on warranties. Now, another one is any combination of the ones I just gave you. As an example, putting it on your credit card and then transferring it to a balance transfer card. You can use them in combination. You can pay part cash, part charge. You could do side hustle. After you put it on your credit card, use the side hustle to pay the bill. Or getting the starter and doing it yourself. I mean, there's all different kinds of combinations of these that you can pay a big bill with. Another way is not a fun way to think about, but you could sue people. If you're in a car wreck and it's not your fault, it's their fault, sue them. Now, I unfortunately had to do this, and it paid off, but it took 5 years. But I did get a decent sum of money out of the deal. So you can sue for major issues. And last but not least is the last resort, the thing I would try never to do. I would try all these before I did this, and that would be to file bankruptcy. Now, there are a couple of bills you cannot get out of. You know, back taxes, bankruptcy doesn't cover. Some recent debt, bankruptcy doesn't cover. But it'll cover most debt. But again, the payback for that is you might get out of your debt for the immediate now, but it stays on your record for 7 to 10 years. And that, depending on your age and where you are in life, that could be a big, big blow to any plans you might have. But it is an option. If you have a $50,000 medical bill with no insurance and you can't pay it, file bankruptcy. Well, those are the ways that I came up with, and I didn't count them. I think I came up with 19 or 20 of them. Different ways to pay a huge bill that you were not expecting. Now, if you are expecting a bill, as an example, right now I save money for a new car. My car is fine, there's no problem, it's relatively new, it's got relatively low miles on it, but I am still saving a little bit each week so that if something happens to my car, if I'm in a wreck, if the starter goes out, I've got the money there to fix it. Those kind of sinking funds you can plan on. You can save a little bit all the time so that it's there. That's basically what an emergency fund is for. But as I said, that article said most Americans can't pay a $1,000 emergency bill. I just gave you 19 or 20 different ways to handle that bill. Well, I hope this helps. I hope you take these to heart, write them down, and the next time you're in an emergency, even if you've got the cash, and here's what I can't make people understand. Even if you've got the cash to pay the bill, don't go there first. Cash is something that you need to hold on to. Find another way to pay the bill. And that will ensure that you have the cash when something else comes along. Well, you guys have a great day, a great week, and happy investing.